Hey folks, Rachana Ranade here and I welcome you all to a very interesting video because today we are going to talk about Iran-Israel war. We are going to understand the impact of this war on India, number one. Number two, we are going to understand about has India hit a jackpot or not. And if you are wondering that what is the relevance or what is the relation between this war and the jackpot, there is a relevance, and what is that? We are going to discuss about it. And number three, if this war were to go on for few more days / weeks, could this lead to a dip, and if yes, could that be like a buy on dip opportunity? So we are going to talk about a lot of things. I am going to try and bring in some kind of geopolitical angle as well. That's my first ever attempt where I am going to talk about geographical points which are very important for India. So I hope I am able to live up to the expectations. I'll try my best at least, but please excuse me if you feel that it could have been a better geographical clarification. I'm not as good at it, right? Again, of course, one more disclaimer, this is a shoot and release video, so just in case if I fumble upon something, you know what is to be done. Check the link in the pinned comment and in the description box. But before we move on to today's discussion, of course, everyone knows very few days left for our Har Ghar Investor event. It's going to happen in Pimpri Chinchwad, very close to Pune. It is on the 22nd January and it's at the Elpro City Square. If you see, it's almost, oh my god, all these grey dots are like gone. Very few seats left, but of course towards the corners the mid seats are almost gone, so please don't wait till the last day. There are very least possible chances that you will find the tickets till the last day, so please book your seats. We are going to talk about a lot of points as to how can you create long-term wealth using stocks and mutual funds. We are going to talk about how to plan for your retirement. I'm going to tell my target for Nifty. We are also going to discuss a very important point as to how can you use AI in stock research. That's a new segment added for this event, so please check out the link in the pinned comment and in the description box so that you can attend the event on the next Sunday, right? So with that, let's get back to our today's discussion, which is about the Iran-Israel conflict. We are going to discuss about these 3 points that you can see on the screen right now. We are going to kickstart our discussion with impact of Iran and Israel conflict. First and foremost, of course, everyone understands that yes, first things first, oil price are going to rise with this Iran-Israel conflict. One important point, we are the world's third largest crude oil importer, and that is the reason why it is going to hit us pretty badly, okay. But we have to understand that has this really happened? I mean, since Iran-Israel war started, has crude oil prices, have these prices shot up or not? Answer is obviously yes. In roughly last 5 days, the prices have shot up by almost 12%. And if I were to tell you exact recent high, we saw the recent high of UK oil at $78.45 per barrel, okay, that was after the 12% rise. And JP Morgan has warned on Friday that oil prices may surge to 120 per barrel if this conflict escalates. Now, I'm sure you might be like, oh my god, this will be crazy. Should we be really worried? Answer is no. Why? Two important reasons. The very first reason is that the possibility of this happening is currently only 7%, is what they have only mentioned in their report, okay. And number two, we don't import any oil from Iran. Okay, we have stopped importing oil from Iran since 2020. In fact, America had put sanctions and that was the reason why we stopped buying oil from Iran. But then from whom do we buy? Maximum crude oil we buy is from Russia, followed by Iraq, then Saudi, then UAE and then USA. Okay, now, you might be like, if we are importing maximum oil from Russia, agreed, but if I were to total Iraq, Saudi and UAE, these three, this definitely surpasses how much we import from Russia. Now, what is with these three, Iraq, Saudi and UAE? There is an important point here. What has Iran said? Iran said that if our conflict just goes on, if Israel doesn't stop, we will close the Strait of Hormuz, is a kind of dhamki that they are given. They have threatened to close the Strait of Hormuz. But do you think that Strait of Hormuz is something like a very small point where they'll put a barricade? It's not like that. It's a big water body. So if I were to show you on Google Maps, how does this look like? I'll just quickly search Hormuz, Strait of Hormuz. Yes, this is where you go. This is where Strait of Hormuz is. Okay. Now, if I were to just zoom this out, you will understand where India is. Okay, by the way, this is Strait of Hormuz. Okay. Where is India? This is Strait of Hormuz. This is India. So, do we import oil from Iran? No, agreed. But do we import oil from, now I'll take you back to that table. You have to check this: Iraq, Saudi and UAE. Okay, let us go back here. You can see UAE, correct? You can also see Iraq. So Iraq is also going to take this oil. I mean, Iraq is, they are going to export the oil from here only. So Iraq, Saudi is here again, and of course their oil reserves, majority of them, they drill the oil from the seabed, or of course even on land as well. But Saudi, again they are going to pass it from this one. Iraq same, and UAE same. Okay. If Strait of Hormuz is choked, of course, as I said, there will be no barricading, but Houthi rebels, they generally start attacking ships, and that is where the supply chain gets disrupted. If this happens, the supply will be shortened, or the supply will fall, demand remains intact, and that will shoot up the crude oil prices. It is said that out of the total crude trade that takes place, 20% is exported from this small Strait of Hormuz. So if this becomes a choke point, supply will drop, and which will lead to increase in crude oil prices. Okay. Now for us, is that going to be a problem? Obviously yes. If crude oil prices rise, inflation is going to increase, correct? If inflation increases, then the pace at which RBI may cut interest rates, that can slow down. Next important point is that if crude oil prices start rising, then we will have to shell out more dollars to buy crude oil, and because of which dollar will strengthen, rupee will weaken, correct? And ultimately our current account deficit can also take a hit. Okay. All these things will happen only if this war is lengthened, if it goes on for days or weeks or months or whatever, not if it is stopped in a few days. Okay. So I hope you have understood the importance of this Strait of Hormuz. Now one more important point is that for us, for India, almost 2/3 of the oil that we import passes through this, and there is one data point for even LPG. Now if you see here, for LPG, how much is passing through this? Almost half. Almost half of our LPG needs are passing through this Strait of Hormuz. So this is an important geopolitical angle for us. We have to ensure that, I mean, we can't do anything. If something, I mean, if the tensions don't ease off, it is going to impact India, right? This is about the imports of crude oil, imports of LPG. What about exports? See, whatever exports we do to Europe and USA, a lot of exports pass through this place, through the Red Sea. Again, Yemen and Iran, they are like friends, and like Iran has given a threat that the Houthis can actually attack ships here. Similar thing could happen here, and if that be so, our exports to US and Europe, so I'll just zoom out, you can see here, ideally what happens is our exports take this route, then the Suez Canal, and that is how we reach Europe and USA this side. If this route also takes a hit, then we have to go round the Cape of Good Hope and then export here. Okay. Will that lead to increase in shipping costs? Yes, that is not a good sign for us. Okay. So I hope you have understood this point. Okay. One more important point. Now, what all things should we look into? What are the key uncertainties? What point should we check in the news? Number one, how long does this conflict go? Iran-Israel. Number two, global shipping lanes. We did talk about Strait of Hormuz and also the Red Sea point for exports. We have to check that. Nothing bad happens there. And number three, RBI's rate cut. If inflation rises, then the pace at which rate cut may happen, that could slow down. So we have to keep a watch on this. If this war goes on for a longer time, which sectors could get impacted? Of course, all these sectors where crude oil is a major raw material import, starting from aviation, chemicals, paints, tire, cement, all this could see a negative impact, because if crude oil prices rise, their raw material prices are going to shoot up. Okay. Now you are like, okay, okay, Rachana, we understood this first point, impact of Iran-Israel conflict on India, but how has this got a connection with India hitting a jackpot? See, like I told you, 85% of our crude oil requirement is imported. What if we find our own crude oil? What if we have our own reserves? And that is what Mr. Hardeep Singh Puri mentioned in one of the recent statements that he gave. And he said India is on the verge of discovering a transformational oil reserve in Andaman Sea. He has compared this discovery with the discovery made in Guyana. Now, he has mentioned that it's like green shoots. There are great chances that we are going to discover this big oil reserve in Andaman. Now, when he has compared this with Guyana, I thought of understanding that how the economy of Guyana changed pre and post oil discovery, and for that, I'll be honest, took help of ChatGPT. What it mentions is that GDP saw an explosion. How? Before oil, that is in 2014, their GDP, Guyana's GDP was $3.2 billion. Post oil, $16 billion. It became one of the fastest growing economies in the world. Over 38% of their 2023 GDP growth, over 38%. That is largely driven by oil production only. Their economy shifted from agriculture to oil, and their per capita income also saw a crazy surge from $4,000 per person to over $18,000. That's insane, and moving Guyana closer to upper middle income status. Now, if Hardeep Singh Puri ji has compared the Guyana's oil discovery to, has compared India's oil discovery to Guyana, I thought of understanding what happened in Guyana. Now, if similar thing happens, of course, our GDP, so that is what again I got. See, our GDP could also definitely boost. It will bring in a lot of employment. Typically, this sector requires a lot of employment. Our employment will increase, GDP will increase, GDP per capita can increase. Our current account deficit will come absolutely on track. Our forex reserves will increase. Rupee can start seeing an appreciation rather than rupee depreciating. It could be a crazy change for India if we are really able to hit this, if we are able to extract as much as is predicted to be extracted right now. So, all in all, in the longer term, this could be like an amazing positive sign for India. But going back to Iran-Israel, so we talked about two things, right? I hope first 2 points are clear. Now, going back to the first point again. So, I'll just take you to this first slide again. So, I hope this is clear, this is clear. Is this a buy the dip opportunity? Just in case Iran-Israel conflict drags on for a few weeks, and if crude oil remains at an elevated level, that could lead to a dip in the market. If that be so, could this be a buy and dip opportunity? I feel India's economy is absolutely strong. Any such concern, it will be resolved someday or the other. Na? So, such dips should be ideally considered as a buy on dip opportunity, and of course, I am a very big, I am super confident about the Indian economy in the longer term. So, any such dips I would definitely think about buying into. So, I hope this entire discussion is absolutely clear. As I mentioned in the beginning of the video, this was a shoot and release video. So, just in case if I have fumbled upon something, please don't forget to check out the link in the description and in the pinned comment. My first ever attempt to discuss geography, and if my geography teacher sees this, who taught me geography in school, she's going to laugh. Rachana is talking so much about geography, but anyways, I've tried my level best. I hope you enjoyed this. If you did, please don't forget to smash the like button. Please don't forget to share this video with your friends. Let me in the comment section also if you like this attempt or not. I'll see you in the next one. Till then, take care. Jai Hind and bye bye.